So we've already talked about the importance of playtesting, but one of the other kind of tweaky development processes that's actually quite hard that I think is worth touching on is how to balance a game. Balancing means that underneath the hood of the game, there's no single strategy or decision path that dominates the others. So you're making sure the game has a wide range of solutions and approaches, and if one path or series of decisions or strategy is taken, it's not going to just completely go off the rails or not achieve the objective. Balance is important for a few reasons. It creates equality between all players, so they have equal opportunities to succeed or fail based on their decisions, rather than inherent advantages or disadvantages that you built into the game. It also makes the real world scenarios more accurate, so that no one solution can address all the challenges. It gets the complexity of real life right. It also makes sure the engagement is good. You're confident that the game, as the tool, is going to perform as you want it to help their strategic choices and problem-solving skills have a direct impact on the results and not be biased. Balancing games, especially if they're complex games, is like a full-time job for some people, so I'm just going to talk very broadly about things that you can do to balance your games with some simple kind of strategies. Probably the number one and easiest thing to do is playtesting. We already talked about it, we already know how important it is, but it can help with balancing. Because if people discover things that are completely overpowered or underpowered or very frustrating, you can easily find the right zones to target. Another really easy strategy is having scenarios and objectives that are pretty diverse. Design scenarios with multiple objectives with lots of different strategies. That diversity ensures the participants need to constantly adapt and consider different approaches. Now, getting a bit more crunchy here, we can think about some other ways, such as resource allocation. Consider the resources of the game. Now, this includes resources such as how much time people have, or how much information they have, or what materials do they have. All of those things that are available to the participants to use in the game, you can add more of or take away to address challenges and obscuring obvious solutions. Sometimes if something is too easy, you can just give them less time or less information. That is a form of balancing. Another tool is dialing up or down the difficulty level. You can actually add in mechanisms that adjust the difficulty of the objective. But you've really got to be careful here to balance between having a challenge and what they're actually capable of. You want to keep them engaged, but don't overwhelm them. It's crucial to remember what your objective is. And if you're just adding in difficulty for the purpose of it being hard, don't do that. Unless that's the actual objective, don't do it. Simple is key. The last thing to mention is feedback loops. Mechanisms that allow participants to understand the consequences of their decision, learn from their action, and adjust their strategy. Feedback loops are the core of all game loops. Balancing and testing game elements in the game design is crucial for that effective and engaging learning experience. We talked about the levers being playtesting, diversity of choices, resource allocation, and difficulty levels. And throughout that iterative testing and refining, you can start to provide participants with valuable skills and fun games. Now, lastly, I've got some toys for you to play with. I love this tool that you can use online for free. It's quite scalable and it can model different game environments. Now, be advised, this is for advanced users only, but I really want you to play around with it because it can get you understanding game loops really well. There are two links in the description below. The first one brings up this basic simulated game experience where we have dollars that we can buy seeds with. The seeds then need time to grow. We can harvest that crop and then we can sell it, giving us more money to buy more seeds. Now, the cool thing here is we can play around with it. And what I want you to do is open up the link, look at the blue boxes. And if you make a copy of this, you can alter those boxes. And by changing the numbers there, you can see how the game loop changes and you can balance the components of how many dollars it takes to buy a seed and how many dollars you can make from selling what you grow. Now, intuitively, you know that you should be able to sell something for more after you grew it because people are basically buying the time that it took to grow. But you can play around with things here and understand those mechanics and see it play out if you click the play button down below. Here are the dollars going towards buying seeds. We're then planting one, the crop is harvested, and there it is. We can sell one at the market and our dollars are going back to the start. You can see that our dollars, when we run low, we can't buy any more seeds. So we need to sell some to keep buying. This is really cool tool that I use when I'm balancing complicated games. For example, on the second link, here we have a totally simulated version of the Settlers of Catan game. We have the probabilities of all brick, wood, sheep, ore, and wheat, and what it takes for them to buy a road, a settlement, build a city. For those of you not familiar with Catan, a quick Google search will show you what the game looks like. You basically need to get those resources, buy roads, settlements, and cities to get victory points, and if you get enough victory points, you win. After pressing play, we can see that we're getting some of those resources. When we get enough, we can build something that's required with enough of those resources, and then those points will move forward in time to give us enough victory points to win. Now, a crucial element that we're not modeling here is the trading aspect of Catan, which is where you can dynamically trade with other people. That's the thing that makes Catan such a great game, but you can see here how you can model the background of the game economy in order to balance a more complicated game. For example, if you were simulating a supply chain, you could actually map it out all like this and figure out what dials to twist in order to simulate a supply chain crunch. This is the kind of stuff that we're covering inside of the advanced course, but I thought I'd show you a peek down the well of how far the knowledge and skills can take you, remembering that this is very much on the crunchy side of the game diagram. So don't get too scared for now. It's just cool to have a look. The homework task here is just to play around with these numbers and see what you can do to tweak the balance to make it not balanced. And just imagine how playtesting could figure that out. Essentially, each time you run one of these diagrams is like a playtest for the underlying mechanics, but it doesn't say anything about the game experience. So real playtesting is always important.